because I've had questions that, people have said, listen, I don't want to have to deal with complexity. I don't want to have to work hard. I don't want to have to do a lot of these things in order to, be able to go into the markets each day. So let me address that question, because when I'm through speaking, when I end up talking, it can sound like you, and I'm aware of this, it can sound like you would have to be some kind of a savant to get to the levels that you would want to be to. And I don't think that is true, but I do want to say that you can't do anything well without working hard at it. So if a person says to me, look, I really don't want to learn anything, I just want to know what I want to learn is how to do this really simply and just be able to make some money. And that's what I want to do. Well, first of all, I would say to them, I don't deal in money. I don't deal in how to make money. I deal in how to understand the markets and how you could put a forecast together and execute on it. Everything past that is going to be on the person himself, because people are too weird about money. So I just leave that subject out. And I also don't like talking about it for all the reasons I've said to you. It makes me nauseous. It really does. So it doesn't make me nauseous when I think about money. It makes me nauseous when I think about other people groveling for money, groveling for a way to make money. That's what makes me nauseous. That's the picture that comes in my mind. Anybody who wants to do this simply and without much education shouldn't be doing it, because it can't be done, as far as I know, except if you're going to be a buy and hold, or you're going to do something in the stock indices. This is a skilled piece of work that you're trying to do. It takes some knowledge. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It just takes some knowledge and it takes some skill to do it. And you do have to work at it. And there are disappointments and there are times where you will feel as high as a kite. But remember our discussion about remaining normal, even while successful. I told you, people don't have to practice anything in order to lose money. They don't have to practice with their psychology in order to be a certain way when they lose money. What people have to practice with their psychology is how to maintain being normal while being successful. That's where people fail. Everybody knows how to lose. And some people really do get bent out of shape. I've been one of them, that when you lose, you're really, really angry and you really think the markets are rigged and you really think they're out to get you and that there's some kind of a scam being perpetrated against you. Or you're more sanguine about it and you've taken your loss and it's like, okay, well, that's what it is. I can afford to lose. I put 5,000 in my brokerage account. I can afford to lose all of it if I have to, or whatever. But whoever you are in the spectrum of how to lose, that's not so much what you need to work on. Is you have to work on how to be normal while being successful. That's where the real work is. So, and then there is something about losses. When you get to a point where you're dealing with the market day in and day out, like all of us are, you're going to understand that there's going to be, at some point, you're going to think you got it right, and you just, for whatever reason, you just don't. Or you think you got it right, and they spike down a little bit, and they flush you out, and then they go do the move, and you weren't in it. And you almost have to just smile at yourself and say, look at that, isn't that something? Because you know what you're doing. I think the anger comes and the frustration comes when you really know that you don't yet know, and you're still trying to make money. That's why if somebody says to me, and somebody did, can't I just learn to do this isn't there like a simple green light, red light type of thing that I can do to do this well? And is there, generally speaking, is there a way to do this really without much effort? And my answer is really no, there isn't. I mean, there may be, because I don't know everything. But everything that I do know, and maybe I'm going down the wrong path. Maybe there really is a way. But if you're asking me, I'm going to give you my answer. My answer is that, like anything else in life, it requires time and effort and understanding to get you to get out of base camp or whatever level on Trader's Mountain you are. And it takes time to climb up to that next level. And it does take effort. person might say, well, isn't there some way that I can just play the guitar just good enough so that I can, be in a band? Yeah, and it wouldn't be that hard to learn to do that. But if you want to, start playing Jimi Hendrix guitar solos, you're going to be spending a lot more time with that guitar and with lessons and with moving ahead. So everybody here knows you've worked. Everybody here has accomplished something. Everybody's really good at something. Even people who do nothing with their lives are really good at that. Everybody's really good at something. So, you'd prefer to be really good at having accomplished something, not being really good at not accomplishing anything, right? So, but that is, there are people who are really good at that. There's people really good at smoking pot all day and not having a job, getting hungry, and then going and eating, and that's all they do. They're really good at that. And there's other people who are really good at really interesting things that, whether they're musicians or artists or builders or whatever they want to do. So if somebody says to me or says to you, can you do this with very little effort? Actually, in my case, the answer is no, you can't. You have to make effort. And I've told you before, even being away for 3 or 4 days, like we're going to be over the Christmas holiday, when you get back, there's already the sense that you're kind of not in the pocket. You're kind of out of the orientation. You have to get all this stuff back in your brain. I don't know about you, but I can almost feel when I'm looking at charts, I'm just commenting on this, I can almost feel a part of my brain working. Isn't that weird? I can almost feel something because that's a part that lights up, like a musician might feel their brain a little bit, or maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. But I have thought when I sit down and I'm looking at charts and I'm really getting into it, I can almost feel the right side of my head on the top, like something is working. Something's happening in there when I'm grinding away on trying to figure out what a market's likely going to do. And it probably is some kind of processing thing that's going on. And I'm sure that a musician or somebody else that really has to put things together probably has that sensation in some way, or maybe they haven't noticed it. I don't know. A really good way to do well without having to work and go down this path where you're really stepping into, a more involved process of figuring out what markets are likely going to do is to buy index funds and to buy them on pullbacks. I certainly wouldn't be suggesting to buy them right now, but that's a 5 to 12% per year. Not that your original capital is going to go up 5 to 12%, but the market goes up 5 to 12%, even though it may crash and may have other big moves down. It's still depending on where you buy. And if you have any knowledge, you might be able to pick good places to put a routine purchase in of index funds. So that's something you could think about if you really want to do things the easy way. One of the reasons people are willing to work on something is not because somebody said this is really hard and you have to work hard. It's because they are thinking about the results. They're thinking about being able to really do it. They're thinking about what it would be like to get there. And that is true in any endeavor. It was hard for Henry Ford to put a factory together when there were no factories making cars, but he had a vision for a factory that was making cars and what all that could mean. So hard work comes with any vision because you have to go from where you are to where the result is. And it just, the universe requires you to make that effort. It doesn't just build a factory for you. You have to go get all the details and put it all together and so on. So everything, you've done it in your life. You've had hard things, but those things seemed really wonderfully almost available to you. And all you had to do was go through some steps to get it. And so don't think of hard work as toiling out in a desert because you're a guy that knows how to do hard work. You're going to do hard work because you have a vision for your life that you want to achieve, and you believe that vision makes your life better, and then you go to work because you want that. The work almost doesn't even seem like work sometimes because you're going after something you really want. That's what makes people work hard. Somebody didn't come to Warren Buffett and say, oh, you have to work really, really hard, and it has to be hard work, and all these big things like, all these virtuous sounding things. No, he wanted to do whatever his vision was. He wanted to buy companies and invest, let's just say, and have really good returns. And that his vision, he was all over that. Well, the net result of that is that he worked really hard to get it. So hard work is hard when you don't want the results. That's when hard work is actually hard. When you really don't want the results, like a prisoner in a jail where they say, okay, what I want you to do is, here's a rake and I want you to make all this dirt, make it nice and even this way. Just drag your rake through it and make it nice and even this way. And you go and you do that. And then the guard comes up and says, okay, yeah, good job. And you say, he says to you, now I want you to do all those same lines, but I want you to make it go that way. Okay, so there was really nothing to it at all. There's really no end game in it at all. You're just dragging a rake through dirt. That's when work is hard, when there really isn't a passion for an end result. So if somebody says to you, I just want you to, like my parents or your parents might have said to you, I want you to mow the lawn. Well, back then you didn't care about having a nice lawn. You didn't know that that really meant that you're upkeeping the house, or at least I didn't really think of it in those terms. And it was just work because you have to go out and mow the lawn. Who wants to do that? But it isn't hard work or doesn't feel the same when there's an end result. So don't worry about the phrase hard work, because it doesn't even mean anything when your passion is to get that end thing.